Hi guys, it's Tanya. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do an unhaul video because I have a bunch of books which I need to bring to second-hand bookshop, and I thought that before I do that I would share the books which I'm unhauling with you. So we have quite a few of them, so let's just begin. So the first book which I want to unhaul is The Bookseller of Kabul, which is a shame actually, because I was so excited about this book and I really wanted to read it, but the thing is I didn't check Goodreads before I bought it, because I bought it also in a second-hand bookshop. It is supposed to be a book about a bookseller in Kabul, Afghanistan, which I expected to be a book about like a very strong-minded, opinionated person, not dependent on religion, modern thinking. And after I bought it and came home and I checked the reviews, turns out it is not. Turns out it's about a very religious Muslim person who is a bookseller, but apart from this, he's like a very traditional living person, oppressing women in his family, from what I gather from the reviews, and I don't want to read about it. So that's why I am unhauling this book, because I don't want to read about suppressed women. That's not my thing. Next book I am unhauling is Apatite by Philip Kazan, and I read this book and I actually gave it, I think, 3.5 stars or 4 stars. I liked it actually. It's just that I unhaul books which I know I don't want to reread in the future. Like, if I like this book, I can very much like this book, just that I know that I don't want to reread it again. So this is the case with Appetite. It's a story of a very talented cook, a chef from Florence. And he is very young, and it's just like his adventures and his life and his love also. It was good, it was quite interesting, it was very rich in like describing flavors and also describing different recipes, but I'm not much on cooking. So it was an interesting read, but I finished it and I'm done with it. I don't want to read it. That's why I am giving it up to a second-hand bookshop. Next book that I want to unhaul is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ede, and I hated this book. It's a YA fantasy based on 1001 Arabian Nights, and I really did not like it. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the character, I didn't like the story, I didn't like anything about this book. So that's why I am unhauling it. Next book I want to unhaul is King's Evil by Edward Marson. Again, I read it. I gave it maybe 4 stars, or again maybe 3.5 stars. I liked it, I really enjoyed it. It's a detective story set in 1666 London, after the Great Fire, and it's a story of a young architect and his constable friend who are trying to solve a murder case. And it was good, it was interesting, it was well written, I absolutely enjoyed it. I definitely want to check out more books from this series, but I think I don't want to reread it. Another book that I want to unhaul is Rune Marks by John Harris. I talked about this book, also about The Wrath and the Dawn, in my April wrap-up video, so I will link it up here. I talk about this too, or maybe even King's Evil also, these books in detail. Again, I kind of liked it. I gave it maybe 3 stars or 3.5 stars. It is a good book. It is a well-researched book about Norse mythology. It's an adventure story, YA fantasy book based on Northern mythology, and it's kind of satirical retelling. But what this book didn't do for me, it was the relationship. Like, it was just the adventure story, but there was no real relationship between characters, no friendship, no love, nothing. And it is something that I kind of look for in my books. I really need some relationship between characters, not just their adventures. I need to care for characters, I need to like them, it is important for me if I want to enjoy a book. And this book just didn't do it for me. So I read it, I'm done with it, I don't want to reread it. So yeah. But if you are into fantasy and if you don't really look for any type of relationship thing, then I would highly recommend it to you. It's a well-written book. I didn't cringe. Because when I was reading, for example, The Wrath in the Dawn, I cringed so much. The next book I want to unhaul is The Golden Compass, and I didn't finish this book. I read only first 50 pages of this book, but I just couldn't get into it. Like, I guess I just thought that it... Actually, I read first 50 pages, and then I thought that I would just put it down for a while because I couldn't get into it, and I thought maybe I will get into it later. But after I read Ron Marks, I kind of compared these two books and I thought that probably this book would be something similar to Rune Marks, where it's just an adventure story about a girl going to the north with her uncle or something like that, and not really into that book. But I'm not sure. If somebody read this book, let me know if I should continue with it. I'm looking for relationship. I'm looking for friendship. If there is some good and strong friendship here, I would probably read it. If there is none, I will not, because I'm not really into adventures. Next book I want to unhaul is Anna and the King of Siam. I read only half of it. It would be interesting. The problem for me was it was way too descriptive. Like, it was too many descriptions of Siam, of old Thailand, and the nature and the palace and all the people, all the dealing of the monarch and what was his business, what was he doing, which letters he sent to whom, and what did he write in those letters, like all about business. Not interested. But I think if you are into Thailand, or maybe if you're just into Asian history, and you like that, if you like the descriptiveness, I think you would enjoy this book. I enjoyed the parts where the book was talking about like Anna and the king and like her students and how she was teaching them. I'm sure everybody watched the movie with Jodie Foster, so the movie is based on this book, Anna and the King. Next two books that I will unhaul are Six of Cross duology. Again, everybody knows Six of Cross, everybody likes Six of Cross. I hated it. I only read the first book, Six of Cross, didn't read The Crooked Kingdom, don't even want to read Crooked Kingdom, because Six of Cross for me was just not my type, like not my type at all. I was cringing, I was bored, it was predictable, and I didn't like the whole story, didn't like characters, didn't like the writing style, didn't like anything about the book, so I am unhauling it. Another book I want to unhaul is Empress by Shen Sa, and it's a story of Chinese Empress Wu. I think she was maybe the first empress in China, I'm not sure. And again, I enjoyed this book, I liked it. I think I gave it maybe 3.5 stars out of 5 because it was well researched, it was interesting in terms of politics, but it was very detached. It was just her mind, but there was no feelings, like it was so cold. It's like she loses a child and it's just like nothing happened. The way she described in this book, she's a very smart woman, very intelligent, and that part was really interesting, like the way her mind worked and the whole politics that she was conducting. It was really gripping, like I really liked it, but it was just too cold and too distant for me. One more book is about another, well, this is a queen of Egypt, Nefertiti. I read this book, gave it 3 stars maybe. Didn't really like it because Nefertiti, I expected her to be just as smart as this Empress Wu, but it appears, according to this book, all that Nefertiti was worried about was giving birth to babies. It was whole, everything that she worried throughout the book was giving birth to babies, because she wanted a son and she couldn't get one. She had 6 daughters. So and she was just constantly thinking about having a baby and about giving the birth to a baby. And it's just, you know, it's annoying. And also I don't think that the one of the most famous queens in the world was so obsessed with baby birth. Like, I find it very difficult to believe. Didn't really like it. I think it was poor research. I really didn't. It's like soap opera. And the last book that I want to unhaul is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And again, I read like half of it. It's a middle grade book. I couldn't get into it. So our main character is a boy who was brought up by ghosts because his whole family was murdered, and he was brought up in a graveyard by ghosts. The premise sounded really interesting and I wanted to read it, but then I just couldn't get into it. So yeah, I DNF'd it and I am giving it away. So these are all my books that I want to unhaul, that I'm not planning on rereading. So let me know, maybe you know some of these books. Especially I'm interested in The Golden Compass. Do you think I should read it actually? Because I don't know, but I just wasn't into it in the first 50 pages. So let me know in the comments if you think I should give it a try. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I will see you very soon in the next videos. Thank you. Bye.